Enlarge in. To make something physically larger. Synonym for. Enlarge in. Expand in, grow in size, extend in, increase in dimensions, scale up in, augment in. They decided to enlarge in their living room by knocking down a wall. The company plans to enlarge in the coming years by expanding its operations into new markets. They decided to enlarge in the kitchen by knocking down a wall to create more space for cooking and dining. Allure away. To tempt or attract someone away from a particular situation or place. Synonym for. Allure away. Tempt away, entice away, seduce away, lure away, draw away, attract away. The promise of adventure and new experiences often allure away even the most steadfast individuals from their familiar surroundings. The rival company tried to allure away some of our key employees with better offers. Despite their loyalty to the company, the competitor's enticing offer managed to allure away several key employees. Large off. To leave quickly or abruptly, often to avoid trouble. Synonym for. Large off. Depart swiftly, leave abruptly, exit hastily, bolt, flee, escape hastily. When they heard the police sirens approaching, the teenagers decided to large off before they got caught. As soon as the police arrived, the troublemakers larged off. He larged off from the party early to avoid the drama that always seemed to unfold late at night. Allot out. To distribute or allocate something among a group or for a specific purpose. Synonym for. Allot out. Distribute, allocate, dispense, assign out, parcel out, apportion out. He allotted out the tasks among his team members, delegating responsibilities based on their strengths. The manager allotted out tasks to each team member for the project. The teacher allotted out different roles to each student for the class project to ensure everyone contributed equally. Enlarge over. To become more expansive or grow in size over time. Synonym for. Enlarge over. Expand over, grow larger, extend across, increase in size over, spread over, develop over. The garden enlarged over the years as more plants were added. The garden gradually enlarged over, expanding to include more flower beds and trees. Over the years, the small family business enlarged over into a multinational corporation. Allude back. To refer indirectly to something that was mentioned earlier. Synonym for. Allude back. Refer back to, hint back, recall indirectly, echo an earlier reference, reminisce obliquely, make reference to a previous mention. In her speech, she alluded back to the points made by previous speakers, emphasizing their importance. The author frequently alluded back to earlier chapters in the novel to create a sense of continuity. The speaker alluded back to his earlier point to clarify his argument. Large on. To focus or dwell on something, often excessively. Synonym for. Large on. Focus on, dwell on, obsess over, fixate on, center on, concentrate on. Rather than addressing the current issue, she chose to large on trivial details, avoiding the main point. The media tended to large on the negative aspects of the situation. He tends to large on his past successes, often boasting about his accomplishments. A lot up. To divide or distribute something into smaller portions. Synonym for a lot up. Divide up, share out, distribute among, allocate among, parcel up, divide into portions. The chef allotted up the ingredients before starting to cook. He allotted up his monthly budget, setting aside specific amounts for rent, groceries, and entertainment. The teacher allotted up the class into groups for the group project, ensuring a mix of skills and abilities in each team. Enlarge upon. To provide additional information or details about something. Synonym for enlarge upon. Expand upon, elaborate further, provide more information about, add detail to, amplify on, flesh out. The professor enlarged upon the historical context of the novel, providing additional insights into the author's intentions. During the presentation, the speaker enlarged upon the benefits of adopting sustainable practices in business. Can you enlarge upon your previous statement regarding the budget? Allure out. To coax or entice someone out of a situation or place. Synonym for allure out. Tempt out, coax out, entice away, persuade out, lure out, seduce away. Despite his reluctance, they managed to allure him out of his shell and onto the dance floor. Despite his reluctance to leave the safety of his home, his friends managed to allure him out for a night of fun. The beautiful scenery and fresh air allure many city dwellers out to the countryside for weekend getaways. Cut off. To isolate oneself from others. Synonym for cut off. Disconnect, seclude, isolate, withdraw, separate, segregate. She felt overwhelmed by social media and decided to cut off from online platforms for a while. After the argument, he decided to cut off contact with his toxic friend for the sake of his mental health. After the argument, he decided to cut himself off from his friends for a while. Withdraw into. To retreat or seclude oneself in a private space. Synonym for withdraw into. Retreat into, seclude oneself in, hide away in, take refuge in, seek solace in, find sanctuary in. He withdrew into his thoughts, contemplating the implications of the decision he had to make. Feeling overwhelmed by the chaos of the party, she withdrew into the quiet sanctuary of her bedroom. She withdrew into her room to have some alone time. Keep to oneself. To stay private and not share one's thoughts or feelings. Synonym for keep to oneself. Remain private, conceal one's thoughts, stay reserved, maintain silence, retain privacy, keep a lid on. He tends to keep to himself at social gatherings, observing rather than actively participating in conversations. John tends to keep to himself when he's working on a project. She's always been a private person, preferring to keep to herself rather than share her personal struggles with others. Solitude away. To spend time alone in a peaceful or remote place. Synonym for solitude away. Retreat into solitude, seek seclusion, embrace isolation, withdraw into tranquility, find peace alone, enjoy alone time. Whenever he needed time to recharge, he would seek solitude away in the peaceful mountains, far from the hustle and bustle of city life. She found solace in solitude away by the tranquil lakeside, where she could reflect on life's complexities. The cabin in the mountains provided a perfect solitude away from city life. Lone out. To be by oneself, often intentionally. Synonym for lone out. Be solitary, stand alone, keep to oneself, isolate oneself, stay solo, be by oneself. He often lones out in the library, finding solace in books and quiet contemplation. She chose to lone out during the weekend and reflect on her goals. After a long week of socializing, Sarah decided to lone out on Saturday evening, enjoying some much-needed solitude. Retire to. To go to a quiet or private place, especially for rest. Synonym for retire to. Withdraw to seek refuge and go to take oneself off to resort to repose in. After the party, she retired to her bedroom for some quiet time. After the party, she retired to her bedroom to unwind and relax in peace. As the sun began to set, the tired hiker retired to his tent for a restful night's sleep. Isolate oneself. To separate oneself from others. Synonym for isolate oneself. Cut oneself off, withdraw from society, retreat into seclusion, separate oneself, detach from others, segregate oneself. He tended to isolate himself from his co-workers, preferring to work alone. When feeling overwhelmed, he tends to isolate himself for a while. Feeling overwhelmed by the constant noise, she decided to isolate herself in her room for some quiet time. Detach from. To distance oneself emotionally or physically from others. Synonym for detach from. Distance oneself from, disengage from, separate from, disconnect from, withdraw from, disassociate from. After the breakup, she needed to detach herself from her ex-partner's memories in order to move on. In order to focus on his studies, he decided to detach from social media for a while. It's important to detach from work during vacations and enjoy personal time. Disappear into. To vanish or go into seclusion. Synonym for disappear into. Vanish into, fade into, submerge into, melt into, blend into, dissolve into. The introverted artist would often disappear into his studio for days on end, completely engrossed in his work. She disappeared into the forest, seeking refuge from the chaos of city life. The artist disappeared into his studio for weeks to complete his masterpiece. Spend time in one's own company. To be alone and enjoy one's own presence. Synonym for spend time in one's own company. Enjoy solitude, embrace alone time, relish self-reflection, delight in one's own company, bask in solitude, appreciate being alone. It's healthy to spend time in your own company and reflect on life. Sometimes it's nice to spend time in one's own company, away from the demands of others. He enjoys spending time in his own company, pursuing hobbies and interests that bring him joy. Seclude oneself. To keep away from the company of others. Synonym for seclude oneself. Isolate oneself, withdraw from society, retreat into seclusion, keep away from others, hide away, seek privacy. The writer often secludes himself in his study when he's working on a new book. She secludes herself in the library when she needs to focus on studying. After the stressful week, she secludes herself in her cozy cabin in the woods to recharge. Take a breather. To take a short break or moment of solitude. Synonym for take a breather. Pause, rest, relax, take a break, unwind, decompress. After hours of intense studying, he took a breather to clear his mind before diving back into his books. After a busy day, she likes to take a breather in the garden. Feeling overwhelmed by the busy day, she decided to take a breather and go for a walk in the park. Dwell in seclusion. To live or stay in a quiet and private place. Synonym for dwell in seclusion. Live in seclusion, reside in isolation, inhabit solitude, stay secluded, occupy seclusion, make seclusion one's home. The writer dwelled in seclusion to finish her novel undisturbed. She preferred to dwell in seclusion during her writing process, away from distractions. The old monk chose to dwell in seclusion in the remote mountains, seeking spiritual enlightenment. Stand alone. To exist independently, without support or companionship. Synonym for stand alone. Be independent, exist autonomously, remain solitary, stay self-reliant, be self-sufficient, survive unaided. Despite the criticism, the artist's unique style allowed his work to stand alone, distinct from others in the art world. The decision to stand alone was challenging but necessary for his growth. The small bookstore stood alone on the corner, a beacon of literature in the bustling city. Step back from the crowd. To distance oneself from a group or social situation. Synonym for step back from the crowd. Distance oneself from others, retreat from social interactions, withdraw from the group, remove oneself from the crowd, take a step away from society, disengage from the masses. Feeling overwhelmed by the noise and commotion, she decided to step back from the crowd and find a quiet corner. Sometimes, it's good to step back from the crowd and observe. He needed to step back from the crowd to gather his thoughts and regain his composure. Fade into the background. To become inconspicuous or unnoticed. Synonym for fade into the background. Blend into the scenery, become inconspicuous, melt into the shadows, disappear from view, recede into obscurity, camouflage into the environment. As the party continued, he gradually faded into the background, preferring to observe rather than participate. Despite her efforts to stand out, she always seemed to fade into the background in social situations. He preferred to fade into the background during social events. Go off the grid. To disconnect from technology and the outside world. Synonym 4. Go off the grid. Disconnect from society, unplug from civilization, escape from the system, retreat from technology, withdraw from the digital world, disappear from the radar. He longed for a simpler life and made the decision to go off the grid, living off the land in a remote cabin. During her vacation, she decided to go off the grid and disconnect from technology to fully immerse herself in nature. During the vacation, they decided to go off the grid and enjoy nature. Sever ties with. To end connections or relationships with others. Synonym 4. Sever ties with. Cut connections with, break off relations with, end associations with, disassociate from, dissolve bonds with, terminate relationships with. After years of disagreements, she finally decided to sever ties with her toxic friend for the sake of her mental health. After the betrayal, she chose to sever ties with her former friends. He felt it necessary to sever ties with his former business partner after their falling out. Close oneself off. To become emotionally closed or resistant to others. Synonym 4. Close oneself off. Shut oneself off, block oneself from others, seal oneself off, wall oneself in, build emotional barriers, shut down emotionally. After the breakup, he closed himself off from the idea of love. After the betrayal, she closed herself off from forming new friendships. He had been hurt so many times that he closed himself off emotionally, refusing to let anyone get close. Stand by oneself. To remain independent and self-sufficient. Synonym 4. Stand by oneself. Be self-reliant, be independent, stand alone, go it alone, fly solo, be autonomous. Even in challenging situations, she was determined to stand by herself. Despite the challenges, she was determined to stand by herself and make her own way in the world. He decided to stand by himself and not rely on anyone else for support or assistance. You can find playlists for various languages in the video description. To practice the vocabulary, you are encouraged to explore our various apps. Links to these are also included in the description. If you found something new or interesting, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section and provide your valuable feedback. And please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more educational content.